Okay everybody, welcome back to part 2 of the water making diorama. I've still got my plate here, the full hole plate as you saw in the last time. What I've done so far on the edges, I just took a piece of plastic or something and you can just scrape along the edges like this and that should clean it up pretty good just to get the extra stuff off. You're going to end up with stuff along the edges like this. It's pretty hard. It's not a big deal because you can sand that down later on down the line. The first thing that you want to do is you want to take this and you want to rock it back and forth just a little bit, not a whole lot. Maybe just a little bit on either side, and you should be able to just peel it right back and pull it off, just like that. You can set this off to the side. Now what I've done is I've got my ship here. Lexington. Now this should go on relatively easy. If you just set the stern and work your way up towards the bow, check the sides, you should be able to place it in just right. You should be able to just lay it right in there. Level it up. Once you see where it's going to be, you should be able to see the black line right in here barely, because it'll look like the waves in the water are washing over the hull and everything. So I've got this side set. I'll turn it around so that you can see it. This way. Now that I know that I've got a good fit, I'm going to take a look, see where everything's going to set. And then what you can do is I've got a knife right here, butter knife. Doesn't take much. And what you do is you run it all along the sides just to create the lines. Now it might look rough at first, but you can always work with it later on down the line. This is just going to give you those wave marks, just where it's been roughed up a little bit down, running through like it's running through a little bit. If something's a little rough, you can always use your finger and go back over it again. Now this is just the first step. There's more to it than that, but this will give you the wave running along the side of the ship and everything. Rough it up a little bit. You want to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, now that you know where that's going to sit, you can go ahead and lift your ship off and set it up out of the way for a minute. Now you can kind of see where you've got your lines. Now you're just going to drag them across. I'll move over this way a little bit. You can drag them across so that you can see what you're doing. The ship's going to be running this way. You can make your rough lines. Now, where the props are running, you can stir the water up just a little bit by chopping in the water. You can give it that chopped effect. If you run into sharp lines or anything like that, you can just knock it down. And then you can just knock it down with your finger a little bit. Some areas are too high. Now sometimes you might need a little bit of hot water or something like that, some warm water. Got some more lines over here. You want to try to make them long lines. Drag it across. Got a few coming out. Alright, now the next step right here, because we know that we've got some waves coming off of it, you can always use a little bit extra. And then take a little bit in your hand, because you're going to want to put some up for some splashes by where the bow is cresting, coming out of the water a little bit. You can just work it like that. Got cats, they seem to be a distraction at some point. Now, I take a little bit right here, and I want to work some waves in. Let's do this. Still got our water. Get your fingers a little bit wet. You can run it down along the crease. Make a crease. You can make the wave. You can make it happen. Just create it like that with your fingers. Maybe make a couple more. Give the effect of the cruising. You can do the same thing for the other side. Just put your two fingers together in that V with your hands wet will help create that wake. Doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be a lot. Just enough to basically create the effect that the ship is moving. Now, everywhere where you've gotten these lines, anything that seemed to be a little bit too heavy, you can knock down a little bit. You don't want to knock down too much of the chop just in case you got it, just right. But if you come across some lines or something, you could always just take your knife back again, just to give it that stirred up look. Because you'll see in the end what a difference it makes. Now if you want to, you can run your fingers down along it again. Use your fingernails if you want to. Make some drag lines in it. Make long, straight drag lines like this. Keep your angles set. And just drag it along. Switch hands if you can. Just drag it through a little bit. This will give you a little bit more movement effect. Like I said, the waves don't have to be super big. But you do want to kind of crest them a little bit because it'll look good once it's all said and done with the white for the crest. Okay. Now I think we pretty much got that set there. So let's let this sit for a minute and we'll come back.